What up, y'all? So we are back like we never left. We are back. I've been gone for a little minute, man. Been gone for a little minute, and a lot's happened. A lot has happened. We'll talk about it eventually, but we are here to do a prediction video for UFC Fight Night Qatar that's taking place this weekend. Dan Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan. Is Arman him? Is Arman him? Is he going to say, listen, we have seen some great performances over the last couple of weeks. Is Harmon going to come out and put on a dominant performance? Or is Dan Hooker going to insert himself rightfully, right? He's going to insert himself into the conversation, to the Ilya Topuria conversation, right? So yeah, I mean, this is a big, big card, man. There's been a lot of cards like this where there's been this. I mean, even the Bilal versus Ian Gary, huge, especially with Marlon Morales. Listen, this Marlon Morales, I've been high on since the first fight in the UFC, before the UFC. He's been one of those prospects that I've been following from day one, and I'm not going to speak on him like I did the Fighting Nerds because I feel like I ruined the Fighting Nerds. So I'm not going to say anything about Marlon Morales being my prospect that I found. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to ruin them. Okay, so we're gonna go in and we're gonna jump right into this. We are going to start off with the first fight of the night: Denzel Freeman versus Marek Bujlo. So Denzel Freeman, this guy is an elite wrestler. I mean, he's a state champion wrestler. Great grappling ability. Great transitions on the ground. Great drive-through blast double legs. Great entries on takedowns. Great ground and pound ability. Does not start working you. Doesn't start riding you. Doesn't stop with throwing shots when he has you on the ground. Has power on the feet. Has drop guys. He is 6'2", 260 pounds. I mean, I've seen him throw up head kick KOs. This guy is powerful. He's strong. He's a good wrestler. He's very, very good everywhere. I don't know about very, very good, but I will say that because he hasn't fought anyone in UFC like that, but he does have. He's coming from the PFL. He's fought in LFA, and he's gotten dominant victories in both promotions. The guy Marek Bujlo is just as dominant, 6-0, 4 KOs, 1 submission by Kimura. The difference is I don't even know the promotion he fought in. I think that Denzel Freeman has much better competition, and I'm going to pick Denzel Freeman because of that. On to the next. We have Saygid Izagakhmaev versus Nicolas Dalby. Saygid is he fought in Khabib's promotion, Eagle FC. He fought in one championship. 6'1", 170 pounds. He's very rangy. He's a finisher. He's 3 submissions. He has a KO in his last fight. He does have one decision. Very long and wiry, like I said. He sticks to you like glue. He has that Dagestani style of fighting, wrestling. Wrist rides, the Dagestani handcuff. He does like to, sticks to you like glue. He has the body locks against the cage where he takes you down with trips and knees and very dynamic striking. I've seen him throw jumping knees up. I think that Dalby's style of fighting is perfect for him. Dalby's going to pressure you. Listen, we know Nicolas Dalby just got KO'd by Randy Brown brutally. He had a decision loss. Nicolas Dalby to Renat Fraktakdimov, which I thought he won, arguably won. Nicolas Dalby's game, he's fought the who's who. We know he KO'd Gabriel Bonfim. We beat Muslim Salikov, which is a good fight. At one point was on a 4-fight win streak. Nicolas Dalby is a great test for a Saygid Izagakhmaev. I just think that, listen, Nicolas Dalby's like 41. At some point, man, the age, farther time catches up to you. And I think with a brutal KO versus Randy Brown like he took, I think that might have been the beginning of the end. I think Saygid is dangerous. He's very good, well-rounded, and I think that Saygid's going to knock out Nicolas Dalby. It's going to be a dominant victory, or he's going to knock him out. Dominant victory is going to knock him out. I do think that this will get done in the second round. I think he's going to hit him with like a flying knee or, some sort of a looping punch that will knock out Nicolas Dalby. Beautiful day, by the way. I'm shooting outside. I normally shoot inside. This is a very beautiful day. We're going to do this video outside today. Shamrock versus Nurullo Aliev. Nurullo Aliev is 10-0, but it's not like a dominant, kind of dominant, but it's like one of those wet blanket, like he throws ground and pound, but it's like nothing punches. He doesn't really throw anything like that's like in the way of super like damage. He got a ground and pound TKO on the Contender Series, but even that, the guy wasn't even like brutally out cold or like, the guy got right back up after the fight ended. It wasn't like he like, it was like some brute like where he cut up the guy's face. Nothing like that. He likes to, he has good top pressure. I'll give him that. But he's a fish out of water on feet. His entries on his strike attempts are terrible. He's literally a fish out of water on the feet, man. Yeah, but he's a good wrestler. He did train in Dagestan. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's predictable with his entries on his strikes. And I think that a guy like Shamrock, who's rangy, he's from England, rangy, he's a lightweight, he's 6 foot tall. He is dangerous everywhere. He's coming from Octagon MMA. He has 3 rear naked chokes, very fast paced fighter, likes to press the action. Yeah, he did have a split decision versus a scrub. I mean, the guy was terrible, so... but that was early in his career. I think now he's gotten some fights under his belt. I think that Shamrock will make this interesting. I'm really tempted to pick Shamrock here because I think he attacks off his back. He has good grappling ability. I think he with jiu-jitsu abilities there, where we know Nurullo Aliev is going to take him down. Now, Nurullo Aliev is going to take him down, and I do think that Nurullo Aliev will throw enough nothing punches to get the victory here in a boring decision, unfortunately. I do think it's going to be a boring decision. Can I see Shamrock catching him, peppering his body with some teep kicks, hitting him with a hook or a straight down the middle and dropping him badly? I could, but I just think that this style of Nurullo Aliev is going to be heavy on top. Although he's going to get him down and he's going to be heavy on top. We did see him get, who did he fight? Joe Selecki almost reversed him. Joe Selecki almost put him in a guillotine and a triangle. So Shamrock could catch him, but I just think that Nurullo Aliev, even though Joe Selecki did catch him in those situations, Nurullo Aliev was able to stay heavy on top and eventually, land enough nothing punches to win the fight over Joe Selecki. He's 2-0 in the UFC. Shamrock hasn't fought in the UFC. Nurullo Aliev, I think it's going to be a boring win, but I see Nurullo Aliev getting this done by decision. On to the next one. We got Ismail Naurdiev. Ismail Naurdiev, he lost to the Iron Turtle. He beat Bruno Silva. Nothing too exciting in either of those fights. The Iron Turtle fight was exciting in the sense that they were going back and forth. He landed an illegal knee, though, which I think turned the tide in that fight because he was arguably beating Iron Turtle. And, Iron Turtle was able to turn it around like he does. He builds in the fights. So he started building into this fight, walking him down, getting takedowns, and outlanding Ismail Naurdiev in this fight. I think that Iron Turtle can beat Ryan Loder, right? I think he can beat Ryan Loder. Where Ryan Loder is very, very dominant on the ground. We saw what he did to Robert Valentin, but he got KO'd by Izagakhmaev brutally. He leaves his chin exposed. The thing about Ryan Loder is when he fights, he's not worry. I think he's more worried about getting the takedown and getting to where he's comfortable versus defending himself, and I think he can get caught that way. But Ismail Naurdiev isn't the one to kind of KO you brutally like Izagakhmaev is, and so I'm going to go ahead and pick Ryan Loder to win this one. I think he's a submit Ismail Naurdiev late in the second round. So I got Ryan Loder to win this fight. On to the next one. We got Aleksandre Topuria versus Bekzat Almakhan. Bekzat's good. Now, Aleksandre Topuria is Ilya's brother, and they fight very similar. I would like to see Aleksandre let his hands go a little bit more. He has great boxing, very strong. He German suplex Kobe Thickness. German suplex him, like Chris Benoit style. I don't know if you know WWE or WWF. Back in the day, this guy picked him up, slammed him on the back of his head, and he also dropped him in the fight, showcasing his boxing. I think Aleksandre Topuria walked Kobe Thickness down. But Kobe Thickness, that's how he fights. He's a very lateral fighter. He fights on the outside. But, Bekzat's powerful. He dropped Umar Nurmagomedov in his fight badly. Fumbled to finish, actually. He probably could have finished Umar. He KO'd Brad Katono. So he's a power puncher. If something lands, he could put you away. I do think that Aleksandre Topuria, though, is a technical boxer. I think his technique will keep him safe. I think the defense will be there to defend against Bekzat's striking. And I think that Aleksandre Topuria will catch Bekzat, and I think he will finish him. I think he's going to finish him in the first round. But Bekzat's, listen, I would not be surprised if Bekzat wins. He's good. He has power. But I do think that, if worse comes to worse, Aleksandre Topuria could take him down and control him as well. On to the next, we got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Tagir is not very exciting. He's not very good at striking. Even his grappling's not that great. He won a boring decision versus Clayton Carpenter. He beat Cody Durden and Nate Madness. But I feel like these aren't dominant wins or anything impressive. He's not showing anything where he's excelling anywhere versus anyone. It was a very close fight versus Clayton Carpenter. Whereas Kyoji Horiguchi, he beat Manelkop, who Manelkop is very, very good. Manelkop is elite, right? He lost to Kaya Sakura by KO, but he also beat Kaya Sakura, right? So I think that's good. He lost to Patchy Mix, but this is not modern day UFC Patchy Mix. This is Bellator Patchy Mix. It's a whole different person. I promise you. Go back and watch Patchy Mix in Bellator. It's a whole different person. Completely different person. It's crazy. Obviously Kyoji fought DJ and lost to him. He beat Sergio Pettis recently. I think last year he beat Sergio Pettis, and that's a good win. Sergio is good, man. He has great speed. He has good boxing. He's good wrestling and grappling as well. So I think Kyoji, although he has a recent, I think Tagir has a 4-inch reach advantage, but I think the experience on Kyoji is on his side. He fought DJ, prime DJ. Way back in the day, right? He's 35. He's not I think he's a year older than Tagir. So yeah, I think that Kyoji Horiguchi can beat Tagir Ulanbekov here. I think he can beat Tagir Ulanbekov. The reason why I'm saying that, because that recent win versus Sergio, he's been off for a while, but I think that experience should trump that in the way of ring rust. Guys that have fought as many times as Kyoji Horiguchi has, I don't think that ring rust is going to be as much of a factor. He's had several runs where he's won 9-10 fights in a row. Different promotions, yes, but look, he's fought elite competition throughout his career. Obviously, some of the names that I just mentioned. He has finished 15 finishes by KO. He has power, so I do think that Kyoji Horiguchi will win this fight. He'll beat Tagir and insert himself into the division. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to keep my eye on. This is an interesting fight. I'm going to keep my eye on this fight. And, yeah, looking forward to this one. Rafael Kakera versus Abdul Rahman Yakaev. So Rafael Kakera is 0-3. He started his career 0-3 in the UFC. He was KO'd in his first 2 fights, but then was in a war versus Julius Walker, who Julius Walker beat Alonzo Manifield. So, he didn't. No, he didn't. He lost to Manifield, but it was a war. It was a very good fight versus Alonzo Manifield. But yeah, so Julius Walker's game, and Rafael Kakera was able to I think drop Julius Walker as well, or stumble him badly. But then he gets dropped, and then Julius Walker controls him with the wrestling. I think that Rafael Kakera, he just doesn't. He gets knocked out a lot. He gets dropped a lot. In every single fight, he's been rocked or knocked out, and I think that shows that his defense is suspect. Abdul Rahman Yakaev, he has 2 first-round KOs and 2 first-round submissions. Great grappling. He You see him getting slam takedowns on guys. He has power in his hands. He really goes for it when he smells blood. And I think that he will hurt Rafael Kakero, who, by the way, has the ability to hurt him. He has power. Even though he's 0-3, he has shown the ability to hurt guys. So, I'm going to pick Abdulrahman Yakaev, and I think this will be it for Rafael Kakero. I think that, unfortunately, the Abdulrahman's grappling is going to be the difference. And I think the threat of the takedown will be there. Rafael Kakero is going to be worried about that. Being 0-3, he's going to really want to win this fight. I think he's going to be in his head. I do think that Abdulrahman Yakaev is going to have the threat of the takedown on his side, and he's going to catch him up top with something and put him away. I see this being a second round TKO. Bogdan Grad versus Luke Riley. Bogdan Grad is nothing exciting, man. He's nothing exciting. You know, when he fought Lucas Alexander was beating his ass before he KO'd him. Bogdan Grad did eventually KO him, but, I mean, it took a lot. Even the wrestling's not that great. He struggled to take Lucas Alexander down, and even when he got Lucas Alexander down, Lucas was landing some great elbows, and he was hurting him. He was very active with his back on a takedown defense, and Luke Riley's going to give him problems because Luke Riley has fought in Cage Warriors. He's 11-0. He's hard to take down based on the fights I've seen, and he's a dynamic striker. Bogdan Grad, I don't think his striking is there like that. You know, we've seen him getting pieced up by Lucas Alexander, and I think that Luke Riley's going to piece him up badly. You understand what I'm saying? I think Luke Riley is going to KO. I mean, he has power in his hands. I think he's going to KO Bogdan Grad. And I'm going to say he's going to KO him early third round. KO. I think he's going to keep the fight standing, and he's going to absolutely style on Bogdan Grad. Matter of fact, second round KO. Second round KO. I think Bogdan Grad is going to shoot out of desperation to survive the first round, and I think the second round is going to come midway through the second round. He's going to be wearing too much damage to be shooting to try and survive for his life, scrambling for his life. I think he's going to get caught with something in the second round because of the amount of damage that he's going to be wearing. And I think he will lose by TKO in the second round. There's going to be a lot of TKOs on this fight. Hold on one second. Going to grab me some. Grab me some coconut water. Nothing like some coconut water, yeah? Alright. We're on to the next one. We go Alex Perez versus Asil Mabayev. Now, I'm worried for Alex Perez. Here's the thing. Alex Perez is not, he's pretty good, man. He was doing well against Topuria before he got that freak injury. But, I mean, he's pulled out of fights because he had, like, seizures before. I think he pulled out of the Match Snell fight because he had, like, a seizure. He pulled out of the, what was the last fight? He pulled out of a Steve Ercik fight, undisclosed injury. I mean, right? Manel Cobb, he pulled out of that fight. He pulled out of Muhammad Mokaev. No, he lost to Muhammad Mokaev. He brutally TKO'd Mateus Nicolas and retired him out of the UFC. They kicked him out of the UFC after that fight. But he also pulled out of the Kyla France fight due to injury. So something's going on with Alex Perez as far as injuries are concerned. I think he's dealing with real health issues. I mean, he's pulled out of a bunch of fights due to injury, man. You know? And I think that's the difference. I think something's going on. I think the injury to Topuria is an addition to the onslaught of injuries that he's had in his career. I think that Asil Mabayev is just going to be just the fresher, less injury prone. I mean, when you're coming off of that many injuries, your body's starting to break down. I just don't see how he wins this fight. I think this is the decline of Alex Perez. You know? This is going to be the decline of Alex Perez. I don't think he's that old, but at the same time, I mean, it's been like 6 or 7 fights he's pulled out of because of injury. I mean, some wild stuff too. Like, I mean, these guys having seizures. This guy's having, I mean, there's something wrong with his nervous system, obviously. I mean, he's undisclosed injuries. I mean, all these things that we don't even, there's so many unknowns. right? So I think Asylum is going to go in there and be able to wrestle him. And we saw Tatsuro take him down. I think the same thing's going to happen. Asylum. Now, Alex Perez does have a good takedown defense, but I think that, again, the injuries have just piled up at this point. I think Asylum is going to be probably one of the better wrestlers that he's faced. I mean, we saw what Pantoja did to him and what Figgy did to him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Asylum is just going to be a little bit too much in the grappling. Asu, you know, he just beat Jose Ochoa. You know, he lost to Mateus Nicolau, Manel Kopp. He beat Mateus Nicolau. He beat Vijay Vergara. I mean, he lost him into Manel Kopp. But, you know, that was after an eye poke. He was still going to probably lose the fight, but, you know, that eye poke really did him a number on him. It was a bad eye poke. But I'm going to pick Asylum Mabayev here. I just think that, you know, he's dealt with less stress in his career, if that makes sense. Your body just starts to break down after a while, man. And Alex Perez has just shown that his body's not able to hold up. Something may go wrong in this fight. I mean, his knee almost went out of place versus Tatsuro, and then he had to pull out of the Steve Erzik fight for some unknown reason. So I just think he's wearing a lot of injuries, and I think his body is just not holding up, man. You know? On to the next one, we got Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a tough one, right? Because I think Shamil Gaziev, I just think the cardio is going to play a role here. We saw him fade versus Rosenstruck and get KO'd. He faded. You know, he took Dontel Mays to a decision. Won the fight, but, you know, he KO'd Thomas Patterson, but he was taken down by Thomas Peterson. And I think that Sergey Spivak has better grappling than Thomas Peterson. And he's not fat shit cat like Thomas Peterson is. Okay? He lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta, but Waldo's good. You know? Waldo's very good, you know? He was working behind that jab and just kept Sergey. He was able to stuff the takedowns. You know, and then Sergey, he lost Lucas to Almeida. We know that he submitted Marcin Tybura. So I think that Sergey is just going to be a little bit better here, man. I want to pick Shamil because he's the GOAT, but I think Sergey's going to do a little bit better. I think Sergey will submit him in the second round. I think Shamil's the gas tank is what it is for me. I think eventually the gas tank will start to work on him, and he'll give in. And I think Sergey will probably get like an arm triangle or like a Kimura or something like that in the second round, late in the second round. On to the next one. We got Jack Hermanson versus Miktebek Orolbai. Okay. Jack Hermanson was just brutally knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez. I mean, it was bad. They had to resuscitate him. They had to wake him up. Like, it took them a while to get this guy back above the floor. This was about 5 months ago. It was a bad knockout, man. But Jack's good. You know, he beat a power puncher, Joe Pyfer. You know, he's fought the who's who. He beat Chris Curtis, Edmund Shabazian. That's a good win. Calvin Gastelum is a good win. Gerald Mearshart, GM3, in his prime is a good win. And he's beaten these guys. And, you know, he's had an interesting career. Because, I mean, he's lost to Sean Strickland, Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vittori. You know, he's had some losses like that. But I think that the experience is there, which will make this a good fight, I think. But Orolbai has some power, man. He almost put Mateus Rebecki away. He brutalized Elvis Brenner at times in their fight. And we know that I think Tawfiq Musayev, he had a submission in the first round. Miktebek Orolbai is very, very, very good, man. Very, very good. He's dangerous everywhere. He's a good striker. He has power. He has grappling ability. I think he's going to win this fight, man. Orolbai is very, very good. Jack Hermanson is tricky. He is tricky. But I think you get brutally knocked out like that versus Gregory Rodriguez. I think Miktebek Orolbai is good enough on the feet to get his respect. He's going to hit Jack Hermanson with something. Jack Hermanson's been in the game for a long time, man. and we will find him getting tested in this fight by a guy who's very well-rounded, who's good everywhere, and I think has a good future in the UFC, to be honest. He looks like a caveman, so that's working for him. He's marketable, Murtabak Orobai. Honestly, like if I listen, I think Orobai will get a either a submission or a ground and pound TKO in the third round. I think and Hermanson will do what he did versus Gregory Rodriguez. He'll last until he doesn't. Right? And so he's game. He's a good veteran, savvy veteran. But I do think that Orobai is just a younger, more talented. He's better everywhere. I think he's going to catch Jack Hermanson with either a submission or catch him with his power. And I think we will see Orobai get a finish early third round. On to the next fight, we have Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menifel. Volkan's a power puncher. He lost to Carlos Oberg. Oberg was just faster. And, Oberg has elite footwork. But Volkan does have some, we know he's a power puncher. We know he has good grappling. We know we saw what he did to Johnny Walker, slept Johnny Walker. He beat Bogdan Guskov. He KO'd Johnny Walker very, very badly, and he submitted a Guskov man. So the guy's game. He's been fighting a lot too. He's fought Aliev. I mean, he has a lot of experience in this division, right? I think as far as fight IQ, he's a little bit better than Alonzo Menifel. Alonzo Menifel blitzed in versus Carlos Oberg and gets flatlined immediately into the fight. You're blitzing in on a counterpuncher, brother. Right? Azamat Murzakanov did Alonzo Menifel dirty. You know what I'm saying? I think Alonzo Menifel has proven to be a little bit chinny, but and also the fight IQ is not there. It's just not there. Volkan Oezdemir is not the best. I mean, we saw, we know that he Daniel Cormier finished him in the past as well. But I think that Volkan Oezdemir is the difference is this fight IQ. He's not going to be blitzing in and doing reckless, silly things. His defense is a little bit better than Alonzo Menifel's, I think. Alonzo Menifel's fight versus Julius Walker was a very close competitive fight that he won. And a lot of people actually thought that Julius Walker could have won that fight as well. But yeah, I'm going to say because the fight IQ is going to be on Volkan Ozdemir's side, I think with him having the power, with Alonzo Menifel being a little bit shinny, I am going to go ahead and give the nod to Volkan Oezdemir in this fight. I do think that he will win this fight. By eek! How do you win, bro? It's a good question, yeah? Yeah, I'm going to say Volkan wins. But I'm going to go and say he's going to KO him in the second round. KO or submission by the second round. It's going to be a second round finish. Second round finish is what I'm saying. Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gary, baby. So this is one of the biggest fights of the year for this division. This division, the welterweight division, is going crazy right now. Right? Carlos Prates. We saw the finish versus this past weekend. We saw him get a finish this past weekend in a big fight, in a big fight. And I think that Leon Edwards. Why did I just brain fart for like 10 minutes? My God. So he knocks out Leon Edwards, leaves Leon laughing, literally laughing, up at the stars, right? Michael Morales, who I think is going to be a problem for anybody. He's huge. When he was fighting Sean Brady, I was like, there's no possible way these two men are in the same division. It looked like he was twice the size of Sean Brady. It's crazy. So this division is doing crazy things right now, and I do think that the Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gary fight is going to add an extra layer of competitiveness to this division. Listen, Ian Gary, we saw him beat MVP. The fight IQ, what we just talked about, Alonzo Menifil not having, the fight IQ on Ian Gary's elite. He couldn't touch MVP on the feet. He couldn't touch MVP on the feet at all. So he goes to grappling. I'm not saying he's going to go to grappling against Bilal, but I'm just highlighting his fight IQ. Versus Carlos Prates. He was on the back foot, using his footwork. Very elusive, evading the power punches of Carlos Prates, and just tagging Carlos Prates up until he got caught. He won the fight. Versus Shavkat, very, very close fight. Very, very close fight. Right? Had Shavkat in some bad positions. You know, we saw what he did to Neil Magny. Ian Gary's very good, man. He's very, very good. He's elite. He's the elite of the elite. And so is Bilal. I just think that Bilal, I don't know that he's going to be able to get Ian Gary down. Ian Gary is very rangy, very fast, and uses that wide-bladed defense to stuff takedowns. And I think that we're going to see Bilal trying to get in on takedowns, and he's going to be unsuccessful. And just like the JDM fight where Bilal had some success, he'll have some success on the feet, but Ian Gary's miles ahead on the feet. He's miles ahead of Bilal on the feet. And I think Bilal is just going to struggle in this fight, even probably more than he did versus JDM. I really think that Ian Gary's that good, man. I really do. And I think that he's going to present problems to Bilal that JDM couldn't, because again, Ian Gary does have the grappling aspect as well. So yes, he will have to worry about he will have to worry about the takedowns, but not nearly as much. I think the footwork, right? He'll keep Bilal guessing a little bit more than Ian Gary. Where Ian Gary will throw up strikes on the back foot. He'll throw strikes from all angles. He'll same as JDM, right? So I think the worry for Bilal in the striking department will be there, just like it was versus JDM. And I don't think that, just like JDM, Bilal wasn't able to get JDM down, I don't think he's going to be able to get Ian Gary down either. I think that Ian Gary is a little bit more dynamic with the kicks. So he'll have an added layer of, that he has to worry about. And Ian Gary may not want to go to the kicks because he might not want to get taken down, but I mean, that's an added layer that Bilal will have to worry about. Bilal is older. Yeah, I'm just thinking that, Bilal he's very game. So he could go in there and get Ian Gary down. Bilal's cardio is impressive, so he may, be able to chain together some takedowns. But we've seen Ian Gary taken down. Even MVP got Ian Gary down, I believe. He either got a takedown or he got a reversal on Ian Gary and was on top of Ian Gary in that third round for a significant amount of time, which is kind of crazy. And probably would have lost had MVP just maintained top position. Man, this is a tough one, man. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a very, very, very tough one because I can see Bilal being on desperation mode. Like, look, I can't sit here and mixing it up a little bit more than he did versus JDM. While he is going to have to chain together those takedowns and really go for it. Neither guy has to worry about KOs. So Bilal doesn't have to worry about getting his head snapped back. He will get his head snapped back, but the damage won't be there as much as it was versus JDM. And I think that's where it could be in favor of Bilal. But again, man, I just don't know that he's going to be able to get Ian Gary down. And I think Ian Gary's way faster than him. The striking is going to be levels in favor of Ian Gary. So, look, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Ian Gary to win this fight by decision. I think Bilal will have moments just like he did versus JDM. I think Bilal may get a takedown, but I don't think he's going to do anything crazy in the way of damage. And I think we'll see Ian Gary squeeze out a decision here, a unanimous decision. 29-28, unanimous. So, yeah, I'm going Ian Gary for this one. But this is it's still a tough one because Bilal is very, very good. I'm just trying to see where he would excel, right? Because you're fighting a better grappler in Ian Gary than JDM. Maybe not as powerful as JDM, but still very, very good striker in Ian Gary. Ian Gary, even more elusive than I think Bilal's going to hit Ian Gary even less than he hit JDM. He'll have moments, but he's going to hit him a lot less. Ian Gary's more elusive. I think it's going to be not dominant, but I think it's going to be pretty decisive. 29-28 or 29-28 for Ian Gary. On to the next one. The main event of the evening is here. Man, so Hooker is good. Hooker's very good. But my issue is I saw Claudio Puelles take Hooker down and control him. Threatened several submissions, heel hooks. So he had Dan Hooker in real trouble, actually, Claudio Puelles. Real trouble in that fight. Great win over Gamrot. He was able to beat Gamrot where Arman Tsarukyan wasn't able to beat Gamrot. Won on damage. See, when you beat someone like a Gamrot, you're impressed because Gamrot has a smudge-style wrestling. He's able to get you down over and over, which he was, but he wasn't able to. The thing about Gamrot, he doesn't do anything in the way of damage, and that's why the Charles Oliveira fight, I was like, Charles is going to win this because Gamrot's not going to threaten him on the ground. He's going to get him to the ground, sure, but the guy that's going to be threatening on the ground will be Charles. And that's what happened with the Hooker fight. Even though Hooker didn't threaten on the ground, Hooker was able to get to the feet, get the fight back up to the feet, and threaten there, landing more damaging shots there. He's not going to have that versus Arman. Okay? Arman is very good on the ground, especially with the ground and pound, He's elite ground and pound. We saw what he did to Benilo Dariush. We saw what he did to Joel Alvarez with the ground and pound. Beat the shit out of Joel Alvarez. Arman's very good, man. That Charles Oliveira win, very, very good win. It's aging well. You know what I'm saying? The fight versus Islam, he was able to go to a grappling war with Islam. Got outdone, but this was Arman Sarukyan in his prime, a pup. Arman's very, very, very good everywhere, and I think that he doesn't have crazy power, but I do think he has presence in there where, guys just start teeing off on him on the feet. Right? Elite grappling and takedown ability. So we saw him take Charles Oliveira down and control a Charles Oliveira. Okay? I mean, he's beating some dangerous guys. Joel Alvarez is dangerous as they come. So, Hooker, while I think Hooker will have some success, right? Because Hooker, we've seen Hooker get rocked badly, and come back in the fight and win. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Dan Hooker do that. But the thing about it is if Arman gets you down, unlike Gamrot, right? Unlike Gamrot, he's going to be able to threaten you on the ground with that ground and pound, right? And so, yes, we know that Dan Hooker took a beating from Jalen Turner and came back and won that fight. We know that Arnold Allen KO'd him, right? But it took him a minute to KO him. I just think that Arman Tsarukyan, right? Whereas the correct comparison really is the Gamrot fight, where Gamrot was able to take him down, Claudio Puelles was able to take him down and control him. The thing about it is that I think that Arman will be able to do that much longer than Claudio Puelles. I think Arman is stronger. He can threaten submissions on the ground, and I think that he has the ground and pound as well. So I think that it's my neighbor. I think that that's where Arman's gonna get him, man. I think he's gonna take him down. I think he's gonna be able to control him on the ground, and I think he's gonna be able to threaten either submissions or grappling or ground and pound enough to keep Hooker honest. Where Claudio Puelles was only able to threaten submissions, right? He wasn't able to control Hooker on the ground as much. If he didn't have that Dan Hooker's leg, Dan Hooker probably would have gotten back up. I think that Arman Tsarukyan is going to be able to control Dan Hooker on the ground enough to threaten a submission. And if Dan Hooker works out of the submission, then I could see Arman transitioning to another position from a half guard to a mount to threaten ground and pound. I could see Arman grabbing his back and threatening ground and pound from there. I can see Arman picking him up and slamming him. I can see Arman threatening so much more than a Gamrot can, so much more than a Claudio Puelles can. And these guys were able to take this guy down. Sorry, my garbage truck's coming. Gosh darn it. But yeah, so I just think that the difference between this fight for Arman, for Hooker, whereas he was able to have success versus Gamrot, the places he was able to have success versus Gamrot and Claudio Puelles, he's not going to be able to have that success versus Arman. I think Arman is going to be able to transition with his transitions, move as he moves, flow with his transitions, his reversals, and he's going to be able to threaten him from more positions than a Gamrot and a Claudio Puelles can. And I think that's what the difference is going to be in this fight. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Arman to win this fight. And I'm going to say Arman finishes him by submission in the third round. Third round submission. There's going to be a lot of finishes on this card. It's your boy, the MMA Mechanic. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time. Tell me what you guys think, man. I would love your opinion on some of my picks. We are back like we never left. We're going to be pumping out some content this week, so looking forward to it.